Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB schedule for Friday, April 15th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And also leave us a comment down below with what your picks are for the games in the MLB for Friday. Now, if you're looking for my best bets or best bets from some of the top handicappers in the world today, make sure you check out the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into the games for Friday, April 15th. For our first game, we're going to go to Queens as the Diamondbacks take on the New York Mets. This will be an afternoon baseball game at 1:10 Eastern Time, and I like the Mets on the run line in this one for a few reasons. You look at the starting pitching matchup, the projected starters, Zach Davies for the Diamondbacks and Chris Bassett for the Mets. Now, Zach Davies didn't do too bad in his first start with his new club, pitched 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no home runs allowed, but he did walk 3 batters and hit 2 batters as well. The New York Mets know a thing or two about being hit by the pitch. They lead the league in getting hit by the pitch now double-digit times this season. I think 10 times they've been hit by the opposing team. Chris Bassett on the other side, the pitcher for the Mets, he pitched very well in his Mets debut. Didn't give up a single earned run, only gave up 3 hits. He had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings as well. I thought it was a really good pickup that the Mets made by grabbing Bassett in the offseason. I think he's going to pitch well here. I just don't see the Diamondbacks getting to him here at all. I think the Mets bullpen has looked pretty good to start the season as well. And I think the Mets lineup can get this Davies and the Diamondbacks bullpen in this game. I like the Mets in a comfortable win. I'll lay the run line with New York. In our next game, we have a pretty exciting series on tap as the Minnesota Twins take on the Boston Red Sox. This will be a 2:10 start Eastern Time at Fenway Park. Joe Ryan and Nick Pivetta, the 2 projected starters here. And, you know, this total is set pretty darn high in the double digits for a reason. Obviously, Fenway more of a hitter's park, and both of these teams have really strong lineups. But I'm going to give the edge in this game to the Twins in the first 5 innings of this one. You know, I think at the end of this game, we could see both teams nearing double digits on the scoreboard. But in the first 5, I think Joe Ryan, a good starting pitching option for the Twins. He made 1 mistake in the first inning of his opening day start against the Mariners. But after that, he was pretty strong. 4 innings, 4 strikeouts. He did have 4 walks, so I do worry about that a little bit. But when you look on the other side, Nick Pivetta fared a lot worse. 5 2/3 innings, gave up 2 home runs. He also had 3 walks, 4 earned runs allowed in total, and only 4 strikeouts. So I think the Twins are going to be able to get to him here. I know the Twins were almost perfect game by Kershaw and the Dodgers in the last series, but I think the bats wake up here, and a perfect place to do it is at Fenway. So give me the Twins in the first 5 innings of this one. Next up, we have the Washington Nationals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Eric Fedde and Mitch Keller, the projected starters for this one. You know, I thought Eric Fedde pitched well in his first start of the season. 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, only 2 runs allowed. His strikeouts per 9 rating last year was 8.6, which was the highest in his career since his debut season in 2017. That's something that I like to see from Fedde, missing more bats. He also limited more walks than he ever had in his career before. So I think he's trending upwards, while Mitch Keller, to me, just hasn't shown anything on a consistent level in the majors. At one point, he was a really big prospect for the Pirates as a pitcher, but, you know, he got rocked in his first start of the season. 6 hits, 4 earned runs, a home run, 2 walks, and only 4 innings of work against the Cardinals. And I just can't back him here when I think the Nationals have the slightly better lineup and the better starting pitcher. So give me the Nats on the road in this one. Next game we have is an NL East battle as the Phillies take on the Marlins. The projected starters for this one, Zach Eflin for the Phillies and Pablo Lopez for the Marlins. Now, Eflin pitched pretty well in his first start of the year. 4 innings he only went, though. He gave up 2 hits and 2 walks, only 3 strikeouts, no earned runs allowed. You know, I do worry about his free passes. He's had some issues with that in the past. He does give up a good amount of home runs as well and doesn't strike out a ton of batters. So Eflin's not a guy I look to back too often, especially when his team is favorited, especially on the road as well. Pablo Lopez, I think, is a guy that has some value to him. He pitched 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, and only 1 run allowed in his first start of the season, giving him a 1.8 ERA on the year. You know, Lopez has been pretty consistent for the Marlins in his time there. Each of the last 2 seasons, he's had ERAs below 4, with FIPS below 3.5 as well. He's a good guy to get some strikeouts. Last year, 10.1 strikeouts per 9. And obviously, he already had 6 and 5 innings this year. So I think there's some value with the Marlins here at home. I know the bats have been a little slow to start the season, but I think the Marlins back up Lopez in this one, get some run support for him, and win this game at home. Next game we have is the Oakland Athletics and the Toronto Blue Jays. And look at the Oakland Athletics now. They really competed well with the Tampa Bay Rays in this most previous series. Beat them 6-3 on Thursday afternoon. That was a big surprise. We saw a Little League home run from Christian Pache in the early innings of that one. And the A's actually took 3 of 4 in that series from Tampa, which is never easy to do, especially at the Trop. So you got to give the A's some credit. They really embraced their underdog role thus far. In this particular game, I'm going to take the over here. Both of these teams have not really worried about the pitching. They've more, you look at these lineups. Saw Vladdy Jr. go deep 3 times on the Yankees on Wednesday night. Both of these lineups can do it. We saw the Blue Jays and Rangers playing a lot of high-scoring games. I think we see another high-scoring series with another AL West team here in the Oakland Athletics. So give me the over in this first game, A's and Blue Jays. In our next game, we have the Yankees going to Camden Yards to face the Orioles. Now, I'm going to keep this one short. I got to take the Yankees on the run line here. I've just seen the Yankees really do a good number on the Orioles in recent seasons. It seems like the Yankees, whenever they take on the Orioles, it's a get-right spot. And certainly the Orioles are able to steal a few games during the season series where you're able to get a lot of plus money on your side when you take them. But this is not the game I think there you're going to see that. I think Jordan Lyles going for the Orioles is a projected starter. I don't think he's going to be able to get the job done against this Yankee lineup that's looking for a breakout spot. This could very well be it. I know the Camden Yards field is looking a little different for the Yankees now. Not going to be able to get as easy of those port shots in left field. But I do think the Yankees offense wakes up. I think Jordan Montgomery pitches a pretty good game. And I like the Yankees to win this game by 2 or more. So give me the Yankees on the run line. In our next game, we're going to see the Cleveland Guardians host the San Francisco Giants. Now, this is a pretty tricky one for me as far as the side goes. I just don't think there's a ton of value either way. Don't love the price with the favorite in the Giants here. I don't think you're getting enough plus money with the Guardians to take a shot with them here either. For me, when you look at the total, you look at these 2 projected starters, Carlos Rodon and Zach Plesac. Obviously, Rodon actually has pretty good success against these Guardians, as last year he threw a no-hitter against Cleveland. He was 1 out away, I believe, for a perfect game, and he hit a batter in the toe, and that blew the perfect game, but he did get the no-hitter. So he pitched well against Cleveland last season. Zach Plesac on the other side looked good in his first start. He did pretty good in spring training, and then first start of the year, 5 2/3 innings, no earned runs, no walks. He only had 3 strikeouts, which is a little worrisome. His strikeouts per 9 rating hasn't been great in his career thus far. So I would lean towards the Giants on the money line, but I'm just going to take the under here. I think runs are going to be hard to come by, especially with Rodon taking on a team that he's dominated in the past. So give me the under 8.5 here. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Chicago White Sox. This should be a pretty fun series. It usually is between these two. Drew Rasmussen and Dylan Cease, the projected starters. Now, Dylan Cease pitched very well in his first start of the year. He got the win in that one. 1.8 ERA now on the early season. He had 8 strikeouts and only 5 innings of work. Gave up only 2 hits. He did walk 3 batters, which is a little concerning, but overall, really strong start for Cease. On the other side, Drew Rasmussen, I wasn't necessarily impressed with his outing against the Orioles. He did give up a 2-run home run. He allowed 3 hits, 1 walk, only 3 strikeouts and 4 innings of work. And I worry about him against a pretty loaded White Sox lineup. Now, obviously, Chicago does a lot better against lefties than they do righties, but the lineup still does pretty darn good against right-handed pitching as well. I think the White Sox bats wake up after a little sluggish start on Thursday against the Mariners, and I like the White Sox on the money line in this first game. Next up, we have an AL West rivalry as the Angels take on the Rangers. Now, in this one, we see a projected starter of Reed Detmers for the Angels, and he didn't pitch too well in his first start of the season. 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 home runs allowed, which are the 2 earned runs he allowed, solo home runs, 2 walks, and only 3 strikeouts. Detmers is a big-time prospect for the Angels and their pitching staff, but he just hasn't been able to translate it to the major leagues quite yet. Definitely has a promising career ahead of him, but just been a little too inconsistent for me thus far. And when you look at the Rangers right now, they're top 5 in the MLB in team OPS against left-handed pitching. They've really done good against left-handers this season with a 950 OPS at the time of me recording this. So I like the Rangers here getting the plus money as the home dog. I think they can, at least in the first 5 innings, take the lead, but I like them in the full game as well. So give me the Rangers on the money line. Next up, we have an AL Central battle between the Detroit Tigers and Kansas City Royals. Now, this one, the projected starting matchup has Tariq Skubal going against Brad Keller. Now, look at Brad Keller in his first start of the year. I was very surprised to see him go 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed, 1 walk, and no earned runs, no home runs, obviously. Really strong start, and one of the surprises for me in the first week of baseball. While on the other side, Tariq Skubal really struggled in his first start. He faced a White Sox lineup that loves left-handed pitching, so we kind of figured this was going to happen. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs total. 4 of them were earned, and 1 walk in that outing. But for me, Skubal struggling in that first one doesn't really want to make me back the Tigers in this spot. I don't love the price we're getting with the Royals here, so this is not a game I'm rushing to the window for. But if I had to choose, I have to take Keller after that first start and give me the Royals on the money line. Next up, we have an NL Central rivalry between the Cardinals and Brewers. Now, I gotta let you guys know, this is a pretty tough game to handicap. There's a lot of different angles you can kind of go with this one. I'm gonna go with the Brewers on the run line, and here's the reasoning behind it. Miles Mikolas and Freddie Peralta, the projected starters here. I trust Freddie Peralta a little bit more, actually a good amount more than I do Miles Mikolas in this one. Peralta has struggled, sure. He didn't look great in his first start of the season. Did struggle in spring training, but he did have 6 strikeouts in 4 innings in that first game of the year. He did strike out a good amount of batters in spring training, and we saw him last year, 2.81 ERA with the Brewers, a 12.2 strikeouts per 9 ratings. He's had double-digit strikeouts per 9 his entire career. I think the upside for him is a lot more than Miles Mikolas, who didn't look good in his first start either. 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks. He only had 1 strikeout. And that's what worries me the most about Mikolas is, sure, he's a pitch-to-contact guy, but when you're only getting 2.5 strikeouts per 9 in the regular season and 4.2 in spring training, that's a little bit too much pitch-to-contact. And I think the Brewers are going to put the ball in play plenty in this game. I think they're going to have some success as well at the dish. So I think the Brewers get to Mikolas more often. I don't like the over because I do think Peralta certainly has the capability of having a shutdown start with double-digit strikeouts at any point this season. I'm not ready to fade him just because of a weak first start. I think he's going to have a strong season this year. So give me Peralta and the Brewers at -1.5. Next up, we have the Chicago Cubs taking on the Colorado Rockies. Now, we know the Rockies play their best baseball at home, and that's definitely the case for German Marquez, the projected starter for Colorado as well. Marquez last season, 2021, 8-3 with a 3.67 ERA at Coors. He fared a lot better at home than he did on the road. And I like the Rockies bats to back him up in this game as well. He pitched very well in his first start of the season. So did Marcus Stroman, the projected starter for the Cubs. Got to give him credit in his Cubs debut. He pitched very well. But Coors Field, anything goes. And I think the Rockies, with a guy that's been proven to pitch well at home, I think they can win this game. So give me the Rockies at a pretty good price at home on the money line. Next up, we have the Braves taking on the Padres. And while this game should be quite entertaining, I don't think there's a ton of value on the board for this one. I'm going to lean towards the under in this game. The Padres lineup has not impressed me so far. They're certainly missing a guy like Fernando Tatis, who provides a lot of production with the sticks. They only scored 1 run in the final game of their series with the Giants. And overall this season, their offense has just been inconsistent. I think Kyle Wright, a guy who hasn't given up a run at all in 2022, he didn't give up a run in spring training, pitched 6 shutout innings in his first start of the season with 6 strikeouts. I think he's trending upwards, and I think the Padres struggle offensively, but I also think the Braves lineup's been inconsistent. We've seen them score 16 runs. We've also seen them struggle against the Cincinnati Reds pitching staff. So give me the under here and a small lean. I think we see a 4-3 kind of ball game. Next up, we have the Astros taking on the Mariners. This series is also pretty fun to watch usually. These two teams have played some exciting games last season and in recent years as well. And in this one, unlike the previous pick, I'm going to take the over. When you look at Marco Gonzalez, last outing, his first start of the season, did not pitch well at all. He allowed 3 home runs in his first start of 2022, and the Astros know a thing or two about the long ball. You know, I think that even at a pitcher's park like T-Mobile Park, I think the Astros bats are going to be able to get to Gonzalez here. And Jake Odorizzi is another guy that I have not been keen on, as his strikeouts per 9 has gone down and down in his recent seasons. And this year already, he pitched 4 innings and only had 2 Ks. Sure, you know, he did okay in that start at 4.5 ERA in that outing. He gave up 6 hits, and I do worry about him here. The Mariners lineup's been so-so to start the year, but at home, in their home opener, I think they get some offense early. So give me the over in this one. I think this is an exciting game. And in our last game of the night, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, obviously, the Dodgers are going to be very big favorites in every game of the series, but I do think if there was a game the Reds were going to be able to maybe win or at least compete in, this would be the one. As you look at this projected starter for the Dodgers, Tony Gonsolin, he didn't pitch well against the Reds last year. He faced 2.1 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and a home run against the Reds in 2021. And Vladimir Gutierrez is not a bad option for me, the projected starter for the Reds. I think, he's a strikeout guy. He misses a bats. Sometimes he has an issue with the free passes. He walks a good amount of batters. But I think he can do enough to keep the Reds in this ball game. We've seen the Reds step it up against some of the competition they faced already this season, and I think they can at least cover the run line, even if they don't win this game outright. So give me the Reds on the run line, getting the 1.5. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday, April 15th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your picks down below in the comment section. This is Ron Romanelli, and as always, good luck.